Welcome everyone to this tutorial where we're going to create a 3D 404 error page. If you're a website owner, you know how important it is to provide a good user experience for your visitors. One way to do that is by having an informative and visually appealing 404 error page. So, let's get started. This code creates a visually appealing 404 error page with a 3D box animation. The HTML document contains a div element with a class of scene that creates a container for the 3D animation. Inside this container, there is another div element with a class of box that creates a box element that will be animated in 3D. This element has 6 child elements with classes that correspond to the different faces of the box. These child elements display numbers that correspond to the error code 404. There is also a shadow element that is used to give the box a more realistic 3D effect. Below the 3D animation, there is another div element with a class of desk that creates a container for the description of the error page. Inside this container, there is an h2 element that displays the heading "Oops, page not found" to indicate that the user has encountered a 404 error, and a button element that users can click to go back to the home page. The code also includes a link to an external style sheet that contains the custom styles for the 404 error page. This style sheet is used to apply the visual styling to the HTML elements in the document, which is what creates the 3D animation and overall look and feel of the 404 error page. The code defines the styles for a custom 404 error page using CSS. The first part of the code sets the width and height of the HTML and body elements to 100% and applies the today's one font to the text on the page. The body element is set to have hidden overflow, which prevents users from scrolling on the page. The body element is also set to be displayed as a flex container with its items centered both horizontally and vertically. This is accomplished using the display, flex, property and the align items, center, and justify content, center, properties. This ensures that the 3D animation and the description of the error page are centered on the page. The background color of the body element is set to #E6143B, which is a bright red color. The background also includes a background image defined using SVG code, which creates a gradient effect from pink to a darker pink color. The gradient is defined using the background image property and the URL function. The box element is the main feature of the 404 error page and is animated in 3D space using CSS. It is given a 3D effect using the perspective property, which sets the perspective for the 3D space. The box element is defined as a relative position element with a width and height of 200 px. The transform style, preserve 3D, property is used to preserve the 3D effect of the box element, and the transform, translate z-100 px, property is used to position the box element in 3D space. The box element is animated using a keyframe animation called rotate animation. This animation is defined using the @keyframes rule and defines the different steps of the animation. The animation rotates the box element in 3D space using the transform property, and each rotation is defined using a different angle and translation value. The faces of the box element are defined using child elements with different classes. Each face is given a different background color and rotation angle to create the 3D effect. The transform, rotate Y, and transform, rotate X, properties are used to rotate the faces of the box element in 3D space. The code also defines a shadow element that is positioned beneath the box element to create a more realistic 3D effect. The shadow element is given a black background color and a blur effect using the filter, blur, property. The z-index property is used to position the shadow element behind the box element. The description of the error page is contained in a separate container that is positioned beneath the box element. This container includes a heading and a button that users can click to go back to the home page. The button is styled with a border, background, padding, font family, box shadow, and transition properties. The border property is used to create a border around the button, while the background property sets the background color of the button. The padding property sets the space between the text and the border of the button. The font family property is used to set the font of the text on the button. The box shadow property adds a shadow effect to the button, while the transition property is used to specify the transition effect when the user hovers over the button. When a user hovers over the button, it changes color, letter spacing, and displays an after pseudo element with a transition effect. The hover selector is used to apply these styles when the user hovers over the button. When the button is clicked, it changes its box shadow property to create a pressed effect. The active selector is used to apply this style when the button is clicked. You can find source of this video in my GitHub, I share it on description. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below and I'll do my best to respond. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more videos like this.